As we travel into Alberta, Canada, the weather is getting colder the farther we drive. And I'm not used to that. I'm a West Coast boy where right now there's probably flowers coming out and spring is here. Out here doesn't feel like spring or look like spring at all. But the blue skies on those mountains with snow on them are sure a beautiful thing to see. Today, we are adventuring into Calgary, Alberta.
Made a pit stop to get fuel and washer fluid. I ran out of it. Ah, look, I can see again. Minus 14 degrees Celsius outside, CRUZ. How you feel about that? Right? It's cold. Minus 14, little buddy. We have left this heater on all night long every day that we have been in Calgary. And the inside temperature is a nice and cozy plus 16 degrees Celsius. How you feel about that one? A little bit better than that one? Me too, buddy. Me too. Yeah, that's on the inside. It is cold out there.
Getting directions to Anytime Fitness.
Oh, it's a bit of a temperature shock when you leave BC and it's like plus 10 degrees and you come out here and it's minus 14. Brr. These big wool socks, so good. There's Emmy. She came here to save me. All my door locks in my van are frozen. Ah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Freezing. What a beautiful morning though. Look at that sky. Whew. Okay, I'm outside freezing my butt off. And this guy is lounging in bed, nice and warm with the heater running. How warm is it in here? It's 14 degrees Celsius, bro. I'm outside at minus 14. I was gonna use some wet wipes just to kind of clean up the dashboard and stuff a little bit this morning. And these were on the front side of my curtain. So this little thin curtain, on that side of it, this was frozen. But everything back here on the back side of this little baby thin curtain was not frozen. My wet wipes. It's supposed to be rock hard. Wow. Looks like a good day out there, my friends. Really cold, but a good day. Mark the paint guy has a friend that works at a local Ford dealership, and they're taking my van this morning at 9 a.m. to pull out my dash cluster. So I'm sure you've noticed in videos over the last year, first it started to be my RPM gauge stopped working. Then my speed stopped working. Then my fuel gauge stopped working. And slowly and gradually, every little gauge on that dashboard went out. The only ones that are still actively in use, I think, are the battery voltage and the oil pressure. Everything else, done. So Mark hooked me up with his guy, which is pulling my dash cluster out today and sending it off to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan for a repair. They promised a 3-day return, 1-day ship, 1-day repair, 1-day return. Then when my van goes back into the Ford dealership, they will be repairing my heater and also a weird thing that apparently is very common in the Ford Econoline vans. There is a suction issue or a vacuum issue with your heating and air conditioning sometimes. So when you put your foot on the throttle, the vacuum, I don't know how to explain it. Put it this way. When I put my foot on the gas, my heater stops blowing out anything. When I put my foot on the gas, the AC stops blowing out anything. So where I noticed it the worst was when I needed the air conditioning. It was like plus 45 degrees Celsius outside, and I was driving, and every time my foot was on the gas pedal, there was no AC blowing, raising the temperature up inside of the van. CRUZ started to get hot. I pulled over just so I wouldn't have to touch the gas pedal, just to let the van cool down again. That's where I was like, okay, I can't hack this anymore. I got to get that repaired. And I'm thankful that the guys out here at Ford are going to fix all this stuff for me. So when we head back to the West Coast, my heater's going to work, AC is going to work in the summer, and yeah, I'll be able to see how fast I go. I'm a slow driver anyway. It really doesn't make a difference. It's -14 and I'm still wearing shorts. You're welcome.
Usually I would avoid this place in the winter. Why? Because it's, well, cold. I would rather stay on the west coast where it's warmer. But wait to see the next video. We really got a chance to walk around and explore this amazing city.
Ooh, it's a frigid day in this city. My van's officially been dropped off at Ford and they're pulling out the dash cluster, but right now we're gonna run back to Emmy's van because she's taking us out for the day. And Mr. CRUZ and Kelly, well, they're gonna just have to get along. They don't really have much choice today. Are you ready for the cat and dog fight? Sorry if we're invading your space there, Kelly. Well, they're being pretty good. I'm actually quite impressed.
Yeah. Good. Very good.
I think CRUZ just knows I'm in somebody else's domain. I better behave.
Yeah.
Kelly's just back there overlooking everything going, try me, puppy, try me. Hey, wait a minute. Something's missing in there. Well, good morning, you guys. My van won't start this morning. So I woke up this morning and tried to start the van. It turned over for a second and it didn't do anything and the battery started to click. I don't have a multimeter with me in the van. I thought I did. I swore I had a little multimeter in my van, but maybe I put it in the shop or something like that and I forgot to put it back in the van. So I'm gonna have to wait this morning to till Canadian Tire here or Walmart right beside me opens up so I can buy a multimeter, and my sweet girlfriend Emmy, which just pulled up in front of me, I texted her and said, hey, and she brought me a coffee. Thank you, Emmy. She was gonna come give me a jump start, but then I'm thinking, well, jump starting me is not gonna help anything unless I know what the problem is. So we're gonna wait and I'm gonna go buy a multimeter this morning. That way, when she jump starts me, I can test the alternator and see if the alternator is working. If it is working, then I know we just need to replace the battery. Super simple, easy fix. At that point, I'll clean up all the terminals and get everything all tested up before I go buy a new battery. But fingers crossed it's not an alternator and I can get back on the move here today. My van goes into the Ford dealership for a ton of work coming up here this week, but that doesn't help me now. And I only got a couple more days here with Emmy in Calgary before she takes off to the East Coast. So I don't want to be sitting here dead in the water this entire time, parked on the side of a road, you know? It's not a very nice way to spend the last few days. But hey, van life, that's just kind of what happens. But Emmy, thank you for the coffee. I'm thinking it's the alternator because yesterday I was looking on my Victron battery monitor app, which shows my entire battery system in the back of my van, and it was not charging. I wasn't sending any power back, and I never thought alternator. I automatically thought, well, maybe there's a fuse gone in that line, and I never got around to checking it because we were busy socializing and hanging out yesterday. So I automatically thought maybe it was the fuse that comes to the house system that needs to be replaced. But after this start this morning, I think it might be the alternator that went. Oh, it's at 69%. And on here, right where it says power, it tells me how much power is currently leaving my system or entering my system. Yesterday, it was saying about 140 watts, but that was all solar power input, not from my battery in the front. So that's what makes me think it's the alternator. But being able to see your system in this way really makes a big difference. And because it's been really sunny out here in Calgary, and believe it or not, my solar production here is literally 5 times better than it is on the West Coast. Like in Vancouver right now, I'd be pulling in 20 watts of solar. Out here yesterday, I was pulling up to 140 watts, which was awesome. But that solar power could be what's kept my van moving over the last few days. Because my alternator was running power when we were driving into Calgary, but since I've been here, I really haven't looked. So my alternator could have been out for a fair amount. But on my Renogy system here, on my back here, there's 2 more lights. This one lights up when there's solar coming in. This one lights up solid when the alternator is sending power back here to charge my 2 lithium house batteries, which are in there. But when solar comes in and this light starts to flash, which is the alternator light, it's telling me that it's throwing power from solar back to my van battery, because all these systems are all linked together. So my solar can actually trickle charge my van's starting battery. And believe it or not, that solar may have been what's kept us moving the last few days. But having that Victron battery monitor app and visibly seeing your system can help you in a scenario like this. Especially yesterday, if I would have just used my noodle a little bit, I would have known, well, hey, hold on a second. Maybe it is my alternator instead of thinking it's just a fuse. Okay, let's go to Walmart. This is where we slept last night, just on the side of the road here by Walmart. Emmy's at home there editing a video here this morning. But in scenarios like this, it's nice to have somebody that you're traveling with, because you don't feel so lonely, you know, and you do have a secondary vehicle at this point to do any running around you have. So having her around has been pretty awesome here today, because, well, don't get me wrong, I parked in a really good spot for convenience. There's a Mr. Lube right there and a Canadian Tire and pretty much everything I would need if I had to park here full time for a while if my van was broke. But having somebody here is great, because now if my van is stranded for the day today, Emmy can take me for a ride to go get a shower, and I don't know, this teamwork thing's pretty cool. Got a multimeter. And I got some baking soda to clean up those terminals. Let's do this. Let's check the voltage. 11.8. So as you remember last time, you guys, we got 11 point whatever. So positive and negative on here, we're still reading the same, which means my alternator is not working at all. So she's good, 14.2, which is exactly what the alternators are supposed to be set to be at. So yours is perfect. Mine's dead.
Yes.
I really like your high top. Mm-hmm. Don't tell anybody I said that. Please don't tell anybody I said that. I've been an advocate for low top roofs, but standing's pretty cool.
It's nice once in a while.
It is.
If you guys think you heard me say standing up in a van is pretty cool, maybe I said it, maybe I didn't. Okay guys, seriously, for real, having a high top is pretty sweet. Am I gonna get one?